This one is one for the books. I promise you this episode, or rather the next two episodes, because it will be a two-part conversation because we spoke for a straight 3 hours, if you can imagine. I am hosting one of my favorite people in the entire world, Coach Rahab Njoroge. Rahab Njoroge and I have been friends for how many years now? Okay, just a couple of years, maybe 3 years, because we met in 2022, and she was very quickly one of the people that I just gravitated towards. From her name, you can already realize she is a coach, and she is those no nonsense kind of people who she just gets right to the point. She just points out things that you don't even sometimes want to hear but really need to hear. She shares with us very vulnerably from her heart and from her experiences, and that's one of those treasured things about Coach Rahab. She will always point out your experiences and help you navigate things, but also she takes time to share from her heart, and she shares very openly and very vulnerably, but her point is to help us sit with our own experiences. Really, friends, you are in for a treat. I just finished recording this conversation with Rahab when I did, and I was supposed to have taken a nap after my conversation with her because I had stayed up late, but I couldn't. I just sat up and thought about all that we had spoken about. So, without further ado, let's get into today's conversations with Coach Rahab Njoroge. Hi, friends, and welcome back to the Wellness Junction podcast. I am your host, Jordana, and I am so glad you're here because we are continuing with our new series, the Quarter Life Chronicles. This one is for anyone who is in the middle of figuring it out, from navigating career changes, shifting identities, figuring out friendships, the occasional existential dread, and that weird pressure to have it all figured out by 25. What even is that? We're talking transitions, the good, the hard, and how all of it sometimes messes and stretches our mental health, but eventually strengthens us and builds resilience within us. So if you've ever felt lost or behind, or like you're rebuilding yourself from scratch, you, my friend, are not alone. This series is for you, so let's figure it out one conversation at a time. Coach Rahab, welcome to the Wellness Junction podcast. I am very glad and highly honored to have you on. What a dream come true. Would you please like to introduce yourself to our audience? Tell us a bit about you and the work that you do, and anything else about yourself you feel free sharing with us.
Today in the morning, I was thinking about it, and I was hoping that you would.
That I did. Oh, I would introduce you.
Yeah, because I always, not always, but many times I struggle to what is the right thing to say. Anyway, my name is Rahab.
Okay.
When I'm in a session or in a class, then I use the title coach. Outside there, I'm just Rahab. I am honored to be here. Thank you for thinking about me, and thank you for being in my life. Just like you, once upon a time, I didn't even realize that I was going through things, or I was not showing up 100%. I was just there, and someone introduced me to coaching, and I did coaching, and my life started changing. And I served in a certain ministry for a very long time. Then, because of serving for so long, one of the ladies thought that I would take a class, take people through a class. And when I did it, I had a lot of fun. And I took up more classes, and then they started calling me Coach Rahab. And I would feel like I'm an imposter. So I decided, you know what? I really love talking to people. I love that I'm growing in that space as I hold another person's hand. So I actually went through coaching. So I'm a certified life coach. I am a certified growth and leadership coach. But I'm very passionate about helping people find their purpose in life, because I believe when you know why you exist in this earth, then we'll stop fighting with each other. We'll stop so many things. So that is something I'm really passionate about. Yeah, I've been doing it I served since 2018, but I was certified in 2021.
Okay.
I now have my own programs from 2021. I call myself Coach Rahab because I didn't want to look for a name. I don't know those things. Yeah, so I ran several programs. Someone was asking me about my website yesterday, and I remembered Jordana and I are working on it. So I said it is in hospital now. The website is going some treatment.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to say, actually, you can go into my website and you can see the different programs. But I think when we finish, you can say where you can connect with me after we finish the podcast. Yeah, so that, have I introduced myself?
Yeah,
I have other roles. I have the others are roles. That is not who I am, but I'm very passionate working with people. I love talking to people and growing in different spaces.
Yeah.
But I am a woman, I am a lady, I am a mother. Those are roles now. I am a wife, etc.
I see.
Yes.
So when you're not talking to other people about growth and purpose and the quote serious things that you do, what do you do in your spare time, free time, that sort of thing? Like outside of coaching, what do you like to do to unwind?
So by the way, I'm also employed with a certain organization. We are a consultancy firm. So not sometimes, I also work there, and our clients are NGOs or INGO. But what do I love doing? That's a nice question. I love cooking. I enjoy cooking. It is my space to put things together. So if you ask me for recipes, I don't know. I don't have any.
Your ancestors talk to you.
Someone said that is one disservice we do to ourselves because we go to the kitchen and we mix things, but we cannot pass that on to our generations.
Yeah.
So we need to start writing those things down. You write your stories so that you can pass what you have learned
to the next
to
generation.
your children and your children's children. But I love cooking. I enjoy cooking. I also serve in church. I go to church, International Christian Center. I serve there. What else do I like doing? Oh, I love hanging out with my girlfriends we have the same goals, not goals, values, because I feel like I grow in that space. Have I answered the question?
Yeah, you're doing a good job at answering
very
it.
Things outside coaching.
Yeah.
When the hat is off, I do very many things.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Just to finish up that introductory part, what has been bringing you joy and happiness recently?
I love the word recently. Let me tell you, I discovered last year why I said I like hanging out with people with similar values because they help me grow. I have a friend. I have a group of friends. We call ourselves Sister Circle. So Sister Circle is a group of ladies who have gone through the same thing. We've done programs. We are very passionate about growth and touching lives. So we came together, and we come together once a month, actually, once a month. And she gave us notebooks to be writing what we are grateful about. And I thought about it and said, well, that is really nice. So come 2025, one of the things that I do, I discovered this in 2018 or thereabout. I always sit down and write my goals for the year. I started doing for myself. Then I introduced my children first, then my husband. So every year we sit down and we write the previous year was, what are the things we want to continue with, what are we stopping, what are we improving, and then we exchange gifts. Then one of the things I did this year was to get them notebooks. And I told them, you need to write what you're grateful about.
I see.
So I write for me, I do it like every day, but put it weekly.
Oh, I see.
So week 1, so now we are week 4 of May, but I write from a Sunday to a Saturday, but every day I make time to write. So what brings me joy, I realized that when you are going through anything that is challenging or anything that is tough, most of us focus on that because that is what is on top of our minds, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because it's heavy. It's something you're thinking about. It's like when you have a test or when you have, I'm saying a test because the children are doing exams. So that is what was on top of our minds the whole weekend. Or For me, what I've been thinking about is how can I have more clients, consistent clients? Because sometimes I have clients, then I have 1 or 2 months, the program is over, then you have 2 months without clients. But I was thinking about how can I have consistent clients? And sometimes we wake up in the morning and that is what is in your mind.
Yeah.
It looks so heavy. But what if we took just 2 minutes to think, what am I grateful about? I realized that when you remove your mind from what you're going through and focus to other things, that thing stops being so heavy. So that has brought me a lot of joy.
Wow.
That I may be going through something, but I can be grateful about the now, this time. Or I can be going through something, or something like the weekend, I discovered brownies, how to make brownies. And then I actually discovered, then I decided I'm not going to make. I told my son, oh, we need dessert. And he said, Mom, I can't. I said, no, here's the recipe. Here, I actually Googled it. Here, and I chose the simplest. Here's the recipe. We want dessert like at 4. And I was not very serious about it, but I was serious. Do you know he actually made the brownies?
No kidding.
For true. He made the brownies. I actually ate a slice this morning. And I was like, yeah, that is interesting. So this guy can actually do it. One of the things that brings me joy is writing in my gratitude book, removing my mind from what I'm going through and taking time to be grateful about life, grateful that you have something covering your back, grateful that I can talk to Jordana and laugh, grateful that I can tell my son to make brownies and he makes, grateful that I discovered an ice cream place. Oh, that brings me joy when I discover a place where we can eat ice cream. I can even, ice cream brings me joy. Ice cream and cake.
You and me both.
Yes. Another thing that brings me joy is just spending time with family. We love each other's company. We enjoy each other's company. The other thing that I discovered that brings me joy. Did I tell you about coloring?
No.
Like coloring.
I think you've mentioned it sometime.
Yeah. I realized that it calms me. Like I'm still. I don't think about anything at that time. I don't think even about the food. Like it's so I'm just coloring. It's so interesting. The other weird thing is plucking it.
Oh, from your garden?
Yeah, not garden, the grass. You know those two.
Oh.
And then to small things, and then you pluck it, and then from the root, you pluck yote, and then because I'd been taught about different types of roots. So when I pluck, then I'm thinking, is it a taproot? Is it I forgot it. So those small little things really make me feel okay. They bring me happiness, but I know joy is from the inside, but there's something that is from the inside. Yeah, I talk too much. I have finished this.
Talking to
recently.
That brings you joy. Talking is the whole reason why we are here. We are here to the podcast is a good excuse for us to talk endlessly and not feel some type of way about it. It's the whole point.
Too much. You've been given 45 minutes. You need to land this thing in 45 minutes. So continue.
Not this podcast anyway. Thank you so much for sharing that. I find that it's usually there's what we can call big things that contribute to our life, whether it's things that contribute to, let's say, our joy. But I think like a good balance of the tiny things. And over time, you just find tiny things becoming like the centerpiece of the joy. It's like they're almost always just there when you need them.
Yeah.
Like a big thing to bring you happiness might not be there, but there's usually like that small thing that brings you happiness. When I still stayed in Kisumu, I remember there's this time when you and I got off of a call. It was just like a check-in. And I think before that call, I don't know why after me and you talked that day, it was like a random day at work. And after we spoke, for some reason, it made me feel like I am more open to life. I think during that time, I had just been feeling like I was buried under so much, just the stress for work. I come in, I feel like, oh my goodness, I have so much to do. I have so little time. But after that conversation, I felt like it opened me up just a bit more. So when I was walking back home that day, living in Kisumu is like one of my Kisumu is like one of my favorite places to live at, and specifically because where I stayed was very close to the airport, so I would see planes landing and taking off ever so regular, like almost even on the daily when I'm going for work or when I'm coming out, or like when I just take a brief walk out of from my house. So that day I remember just as I was walking back to my house from work, seeing an aeroplane take off, and it's like one of those things that still gives me like deep gut level happiness. So it doesn't matter where I am, I will stand like a fool in the middle of the road and just look at an aeroplane take off or land. And
Yeah.
I remember just standing and just feeling a bit more open, and it's like something had opened up in me, and just looking at it, and I felt so calm and happy in that moment. And it made me realize there are these two little things that in life that God didn't have to give us.
Yeah.
A sunset, the blooming of flowers, and how beautiful that is, like beautiful landscapes, silly things that bring us joy. Dancing in the shower is one of my favorite. Singing out loud when I am alone, and even when we are navigating things, because life is constantly changing and we're talking about
Yeah.
transitions, there's those
Yeah.
two little things that don't change, that just no matter where we find ourselves, they just find a way of, they help us find our way back to happiness and a bit of normalcy.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
get that.
Yeah. Yeah, true. And it doesn't matter. So you are in Kisumu, it was the plains. You'll go somewhere else. And if you're open enough, then you'll see something there. You go to another place, if you're open enough, you'll see something. So
For
that
sure.
helps that your life is not blocked. You're always growing in, I was about to say, in very interesting spaces. Because if you actually take a minute to think about why the planes brought you some sort of joy, imagine you can get the answer.
Maybe.
Yeah, I believe. I believe.
Yeah.
There's one time, then we can move on. There's one time I went for a program. It was called Unblock Your Purpose, or Unblock Purpose. Something. So we went, and I was in this class that we were many, and everyone looked like they were moving on. They knew what they were supposed to do. Me, I was like, guy, how are these people getting it? Me, I'm not getting it. We were put in groups. I could, and it was a whole weekend, Friday the whole day, Saturday the whole night. Day now, this is Sunday. So Sunday we told, let's walk. First of all, I don't enjoy walking. I'm like, guy, at you what? And then we were told, when you're walking, you shall not talk to each other.
Oof.
So you'll follow someone, it's like a nature trail. Walk, don't talk, you look around. And I'm like, what are we doing? But because I had paid, I decided to trust the process. Trust the process. So we went. And thank God it was not a sunny place, it was a cool place. So the sun, I don't enjoy once I'm walking when the sun is out. Anyway, so we went. And remember, you're not talking.
Yeah.
You're not walking for 30 seconds. I think it was 2 hours or something.
Whoa.
And the thing is, the person did tell us we are going to report back. So we just told, you walk, you take in. And for the first time in my life, I started noticing. So the place is like Karura Forest, actually. I started noticing the trees. I started noticing leaves. I started noticing what? And in my head, I was like, So I just noticed. We went back. So people were told to say, I can't remember what anyone said. If don't ask me what they said. The only thing that stood out for me is that in this forest, there were different types of trees. The leaves were all very different, and they were in perfect harmony. So there are small leaves, big leaves. Others are spiky, others are not spiky. But they were all in that forest. One tree did not tell the other tree, you are taking up your part. Like, it was perfect harmony. And that's where the purpose thing came from, actually. I was like, no, I might be spiky, you might be whatever, you might be whatever, but we are all here for a different, and that for the first time I was like, Oh, so nowadays I look at leaves
Oh.
from that time. So I go somewhere, I look at leaves. So I've gone to Karura first and forest, and there's this very interesting tree that I noticed that day. Otherwise, if I'd not gone to that place, it was in Limuru, I would not have noticed. So the little things in life, they're there to teach us something. So if we just opened our eyes, just kidogo, and say, hey, that thing is taking off interestingly. How come it does like this? How come? You ask yourself questions. Anyway, back to you, Dodan.
Yeah, that's very amazing. The little things, they
The
fill
little
in the
things.
space in between the big things. We're going to take a short break. We'll be right back.
Welcome to the crossroads where we meet. Young hearts collide, finding steady feet. In the chaos, balancing the climb. Wellness junction where we heal in time. Oh, we're talking changes, chasing dreams. Through the highs, the lows, the in-between. Together we rise, let the journey flow. At Wellness Junction, we're here to grow.
Let's talk transitions a bit more. When I started doing researching for transitions, what's that? Of course, I was coming from my own experience, is what inspired this whole episode. But of course, with that, I wanted to just do a bit more reading here and there. So I learned a very significant thing, that there's a difference between change and transition. So apparently, change is like the event that happens. For example, you change jobs, you, I don't know, get married or have a baby, and change is described more as the outward event that happens. And transitions, what I figured is now the internal process of us adapting to something that has changed. And I thought that to be very profound, because when you think about it, the change in itself will always take a shorter time. For example, even if it takes a significant amount of time, the change will always take a short time. And then after something has changed, now you adjusting your internal environment to now adopt or to accommodate this new environment or this new reality. Now that is the transition. So now that is what transition, that is where like the transition comes in. And I find that as we go through life, one thing, as we always say, change is the constant. Our lives in of themselves, it's one change after another. Our bodies change as we age, we change jobs, our relationships grow, we go in and out of relationships, we change places every so often. Yeah, our mindsets change as we move through life. So I'm just curious, what are some of the changes? What are some of the changes that has happened around you, maybe recently or just at some point in your life? What is like a significant time in your life when you felt like this is something that is changing and now I am having to rewire inside in order to accommodate this new reality that has changed?
First of all, can I just say I let your definition of change and transition. I feel like when we go through life, no one differentiates the two.
Yeah.
So I've actually written it down. I think it's very important to know the change and the transition, because we are not told the difference between the two, then we struggle and we mix them.
Yeah.
So I like the way you said the change, the difference between the change, because the transition, then it's gradual and sometimes can take longer.
Yeah.
So what changes have I gone through? One of the biggest ones for me, I think it was just being a mother. It was a change. It was both, actually, the change, and I had to rewire, but we're not talking about transitioning, but that change was huge for me, and change is not necessarily negative, by the way. Yeah, so that was one of the biggest ones that I actually think I had to move things. The other one was at some point in 2012 when I was pregnant with my second child and I had started doing the inner work in me, and I stopped working, and then we went through something and there was a lot of changes. And I wish I had met you then, because then this conversation have helped me a lot, because I feel like I struggled. And I didn't know what is where, what is change, what is transitioning, and it took me a very long time, but that was one of the biggest ones. We had to change where we live, we had to change things, we had children, just changing even what I used to do. I used to sell insurance. Now I had to think, okay, now we need to change. I started supplying fruits and vegetables. Can you think insurance and then fruits and vegetables? That is very different.
Yeah.
One of the other changes is, I think that was more of a transition, but it was a change when I realized I need to know who I am. Something needs to change.
Yeah.
Something I had to change. Although it was both. When the children grow up, those are changes that come, what is it called? They come very fast and you have to check it. Sit down and call yourself into a meeting and say, okay, if this change is happening, what do I need to do? And sometimes you need help, external help.
Yeah.
Marriage changes are what? That one is, you have to, that one. I feel like one of the other changes for me that is quite recent has been death, like losing loved ones. And then I think because I'm older, then I don't know, Jordan, I don't know if that is change. I don't know what that is though. I've been processing it. I'm still in that process of thinking, what is that? Is it that when you're old, I'm older now, things are happening and all of a sudden I have to think and there's just been, in the last 2 years, that has been quite a lot. Losing loved ones, people close to me, and then I'm older and I start asking questions. Then the other change has been career change. And it's interesting you say that change is constant.
Yeah.
And we have to be mental alert and aware, because it can pass you by, and then when what happened? What happened? I lost myself. There's a gap here. I don't know what I was doing.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah. But of late, really, is apart from the children growing, there's been a lot of change in the career and a lot of, not a lot, but quite a few deaths, which I have felt it has shaken me a bit.
Yeah.
And yeah, so actually when the change happened, then you have to go through the transition. And I think that is what takes a longer time. And I've caught myself thinking, why is it taking so long for me to be okay? But then because of that, I'm thinking, then people have said over and over, it takes a long time. Yeah, those are the ones I can think about.
Yeah, and that's quite an extensive list, but of course there's always more to add on that. Maybe just to share one significant one that has rocked my world in like the years that we have been together was the change in dynamic in my relationship with my parents. That one has really rocked my world, I think. And of course, for me, the other significant one has been in my faith and just how I view God and how I view my community, my faith community. That has been it has been a really significant one. And as you have said, there's usually like change. Okay, I don't know how to put it, but let me just say what I want to say is, I don't know if change is like a neutral thing and how we perceive it is what then we can say this is a good change or this is a bad change. But then I think life events, they vary. There's like a good change, let's call them like good changes. You have finished school and now you're transitioning to start work. That's an inevitable transition period in life that is neutral. And then there's other one that like losing loved ones. That's a really difficult one, and we can name them as the bad ones, in quotes. Losing jobs, losing friendship. I think like there's endings that we anticipate, there's others that we don't really anticipate, and even some of the anticipated ones, they can still come with a lot, even if we anticipated them. Like when you start campus, you anticipate you're going to finish, but you are not anticipating consciously what it will take for you to change from being a person who was in class and that was what you are used to being now you're out in the world trying to look for a job all the while trying to find your identity, find friends, that sort of thing. I am just curious. I think you have mentioned something very important is transitions take longer than the change itself. The change will happen almost overnight sometimes, even if it takes 1-2 years, but the transition period will inevitably always take longer. And sometimes we can feel like I should be over this by now. And I think that is one of the things that trips us up when it comes to how we are navigating transition is because we always think I should take a shorter time on this journey of transition. This transition is just, if it was a person, it will be looking at you like, you want to be done with me when? In 2 years? No, I think it is more like 5 years.
Yeah.
What other ways of thinking about change and transitions do you think do not help in this journey? I don't know if my question makes sense.
Actually, just what you've said. Who said it should take 1 year or 2 years or 3 years?
Yeah.
Where has it been written? It should take 3 years. It's just that we do a lot of comparison. So Jordana and Rahab can go through the same changes. We've both lost our jobs, but Jordana has stepped and doing something. While Rahab, it might take longer. So when we start looking at other people, we're like, honey, what is wrong with you? How come? And in fact, some people ask, what is wrong with you? Get up on your feet, do something, wake up, smell the coffee. I used to never like that. And wake up and smell the coffee. I'm like, I used to not like it. What I've learned, Jordana, is that we are all very different. And that is why we do personality tests. Why do we do personality tests, but we still want all of us to be the same? So because we are wired differently, we were created differently, number one. Number two, our circumstances are not the same. Yeah. They can seem the same, but they are not quite the same. So I can sit with you and we talk about the space of our parents, for example. And we are, oh my God, you're like my sister from another mother. Even as we say that, there are things that go inside that are not the same.
For sure.
So Jordana can mend that relationship and be okay. And me, I'll be like, guy, I'm still here, not okay. But even when we look like we're okay, my pain is not your pain, my heart is not your heart, you're happy. They're just two things that are different. So the story can be the same, the experiences can be somewhat in quotes the same, but not quite the same. So we need to allow ourselves to experience that.
Yeah.
Then the other thing which we don't ask is, we don't sit, you know what, we make fun. I always say Kenyans have the best, I don't know what that they call, like nilijiita mkutano. Those are those things called?
Metaphors, phrases.
Metaphor, yeah, something like that. We have the best, but we don't use it. So people say, call yourself jiita, but when we jiita mkutano, and then what happened? When you told me about transition, I said, let me do some research. And then one of the steps that is supposed to help us is setting goals. I know nowadays we are taught about setting goals, but I think before we tell someone to set goals, we need to find out, where is this person? How am I supposed to put it? What is where are you at? What is the recent reality? Because many people who are stuck in a certain reality, so even if you tell them to set goals, they cannot see it.
Yeah.
So even going through transition, then they're like, okay, where do I start? Where do I go? I don't know what to do. So those ones you need to be, your hand is held kabisa. I don't know if
I do.
You get it. So all those things when we're talking about transitioning, sometimes it's just your state of mind. You're not well. If you're not well, before you need to be, you can make steps. So there's so many things. And I know there are many tools that we are given, but we need to sit with a person. And that is before we say all those things. Have I answered the question?
You definitely, yeah, so
Yeah,
much. And you have helped to bring out a few things I hadn't even realized. The idea about comparison and comparing our journeys. I think that because that's something that really did trip me up. Like I'm just now back in school and I'm finishing up my degree. But and this is 5 years after I was supposed to have graduated. And one of the things that I constantly couldn't get myself to reconcile is people finish degrees and finish with school and people move on. Literally, my friends with whom I started, and they started a medicine degree. Walimaliza, yeah, they finished, and I think right now they're finishing if they have not finished yet. Kama wajamaliza wanamalizia nini, wanamaliza internship. Like they finished the 6-year degree and now I think they are almost done with their internship. So I was just like, what should have taken me 2.5 years it has taken me like almost 9 years for me to finish. And the constant comparison with people have done this before and they have gone through it and this should be easy. Why is it not easy for me? And so I think that comparison and my personal expectation together with now combined with like expectation from outside. When you're going through something that is changing, it can really trip you up. And also just the fact that you said people's journeys are unique. Yeah, they're different. So I think after me and you started processing some of my experiences, it started dawning on me. I'm just like, I'm comparing myself to all these people who I don't know what their journeys are like, and they don't know what my journey is like. Even like my close friends, I was just like, when you come to orientation day 1 of campus, you seem as though you are in the same boat, you are going through the same thing, you're going through the same system. But we all have a backstory that is different from each other, and it will always influence how we go through that period of our lives and the periods that come after. So I think after starting to realize that, I was just like, okay, maybe I should extend myself a bit more compassion and realize that, my journey is not like these other people's journey, and their journeys are not like mine. Maybe for that person, that's what, that whole thing about her journeys being different has really...
And the other thing is also the society. We are trying to conform to the patterns of the society. The society says when you go to campus, you maximum 5 years.
Yeah.
Unafanya nini? What are you doing? Kwani wewe, you are not, in fact, people say, kwani, see, I thought she went to campus. Like, was she called? In fact, nowadays people say, before we used to say, is it parallel? Because parallel people used to go when, but was she called Amani Kutaftiwa so that we find out, is Jordana bright enough? Then if she was bright enough, why are you taking 6 years? Because the society has laid expectations for us. And therefore, we try and conform to those societies. And when we are not conforming that you should have gone to campus, finished, graduated within 4 years, then something is wrong.
Yeah.
Not knowing that in between here, there are a lot of things. You go to campus. I went to campus and I went to a private campus. So we used to have a major degree and a minor degree. My major degree was English Lit, and then minor was supposed to be music. When I joined campus, because there are those units that all of us do, it's called what?
Common units.
Common units. You all do common units. You can only do common units until second year. After that, now you have to start specializing, isn't it?
Yeah.
So when I reached third year, I realized, there's no lecturer, music lecturer. Remember, you're supposed to take how many years in campus? 4. Private, we used to pay. Obviously, not as much as now, but we used to pay. Thank God, I thank my parents for that. So, you're in second year, you're going to third, no music lecturer. You're like, okay, which other course now can I take? Because you cannot graduate with English major only. Guys, like accounting, they'll do only one accounting major because of the units. I mean, they used to count the number of units. My friend here had to look for another minor, and I decided I'm going to take business minor and in management. When I was about to finish is when I saw my friend, there is no management minor, so there are things you have to do.
My God.
So when all the people I joined with actually graduated, I stayed one, and graduation was once a year. So I had to do one extra semester to reach my number of units, because I tried to appeal, I tried nikaambiwa there is no management minor. So I had actually my degree should be 2 majors. But anyway, I thought that I was so tired. So you see this transition. So I remember actually when I was about to graduate, my parents were not very happy with me because I should have graduated with a certain class off, but now I had to go 1 extra semester, and then you cannot graduate. So you wait until the
following year
to graduate. So you see those little things that, so the society expects us to show up a certain way. If you campus, go and do for 4 years. If you get married, for example, why are you staying 10 years without getting a child? Something is wrong. So those are things that society, whatever, and that is why some people struggle. Again, comparison and then expectations from people around you. And so I just wanted to add that thing, expectation from the society. You should. And then the other thing, we don't talk about our struggles. We don't talk about, like you, a young person, when we go to talk to young people, do we share our stories so that another person can hear and say, oh, okay, so I'm not the only one. Because sometimes when you're going through something, you feel like, kwani nini mbaya? Kwani ni mimi peke yangu? But if you hear, that is what the media is calling representation. When you see another black person, when you see, it's kind of the same thing. Share your story. That the one person listening can say, Jordana can go back to school after 2 years. Even me, I can go. If Jordana can, I can do it. That also helps going through certain transitions. We need to speak more. We need to speak about our experiences so that others can learn through it and they know they are not the only ones, because that helps.
Very much. On this podcast, I like calling it solidarity. I very much agree with you that letting other people know when they're going through, let's say, related experiences, almost similar or related experiences, always helps, because definitely feeling like, what is wrong with me? If people are doing it, then this should be easy to do. Do you know, literally, I think it was recently, and by recently, maybe 2020, 2021, all my life, I had never actually internalized the fact that the people that I see doing the things that I think are hard have also faced the same fear that I face. Kitambo, I just used to think that it is easy for them and that they don't face the same fear that I do, because I always thought it's the fear that's blocking me. Maybe if I didn't fear that much. And then I realized they face the same fear, they have the same doubts.
Exactly.
They just go on regardless. And I was so amazed, because throughout, I just used to think, maybe I'm just not, I have never doubted whether I'm smart enough. I was just, maybe I'm not committed enough. Maybe I just don't have the support I need. Maybe there's something wrong with me. There has to be something wrong with me. That's why everyone's able to do it and I'm not able to do it. So actually just realizing, like forming like a sense of solidarity around each other and helping people know, listen, that fear is normal. That fear is normal. It definitely, absolutely helps. We're going to take a short break. We'll be right back.
Life's a puzzle shifting every day. Pieces moving, we'll find a way. Through the laughter, tears and open skies. Wellness Junction is where we thrive. Let's unlock the secrets we hold. Through each story, brave and bold. Transition
something else that has been brought out through my own personal transition periods, and I think transitions help us do this, is helping to reveal gaps in our sense of identity or reminding us of our identity and what we are rooted in. Because I think about transitions as like waves or like the wind. It's like it messes with your sense of rooting. When something is, it's like the wind blowing through a forest, and it's like the trees need to be reminded to stick to their, like, for the roots to hold in the ground. And when something significant changes around our lives and we don't feel like we have a sense of rooting in some sort of identity, we can really feel tossed around a lot. For example, as I've said, one of the things that is significantly changing for me recently is my view of faith. Listen, that thing has tripped me up. Hey, what? Anyway, I like, there's a whole podcast where I want to talk about changes in like our faith and how that is affecting our lives. But then just when you used to think about something one way and then it's like something happens overnight and now it's like the world has changed, but it has stayed the same. Your internal world has changed and the outside world has stayed the same. And now you have to adopt to like this new reality. I find that remembering or now trying to find out who I am. Actually, when me and you started the one-to-one coaching, I don't know if you remember me telling you, like, I want to find my voice. I want to know or remember who I am, because I felt like if this continues going like this, I will disappear into oblivion or something, because I didn't feel like I had something holding me down or anchoring me to reality. Can you talk to us a bit more about what is going on with our identity when we feel like our sense of security and safety has been threatened when we are going through life changes?
That's a deep one. Actually, you should have a session we just talk, okay, not me, but talk about our identity. So how I can answer this question. And I didn't, Yani, Jordana, I always say, if I was young, I will do the young Arisha anyway. Let me answer the question. Because I'm a parent, and I hope parents listen to your podcast. When you are a parent, you have this responsibility to teach your children a lot of things. Our children learn from us. They soak up everything. And I always tell people, when you have a young child, they ask you where the children come from. If you say ATM, they actually believe you. If you say the supermarket, they'll believe you. If you say, they believe you because you are their first teacher. The parents are the first teacher. So imagine these parents who are the teachers, but even them, the parents have no clue who they are. They have gone through so much. They were brought up in pain and all those things. What they transfer to their children is exactly the same. You and I have read Proverbs chapter 4, verse 23. I love that scripture because after I learned it, I was like, oh, okay. If you soak up, I'm not reading it, I'm just illustrating it. If you had a cotton wool, you pour ink. If you squeeze the cotton wool, it will drip ink. It will not drip water. And that is the difference between people who know who they are and people who don't know who they are. So if you grew up and your parents didn't teach you who they are, they didn't talk to you about values, they just used to be, you know me, I saw someone in a quote has said, GV, people who are brought up around GV. GV is that purple thing that we used to apply when you get hurt. Did you ever see it? You don't know.
No.
If you ask people, what is GV? GV was a thing, a purple, like when you get hurt, you are applied GV.
Oh.
It was called GV. I don't know what GV is, but it was called GV. So the GV generation, or us guys who went to school, we all went to public schools. By the way, thank God, we all went to public schools. I am so thankful. That is one thing when I look back, I'm like, So when we tell our children we walked to school, they look at us like we're saying something very different. Anyway, my point was that is how so our parents were a certain way. We used to be beaten a lot. We used to be told, Nani skill, you get 70%. You're told, why were you getting 70? What did Jordana get? And if Jordana got 80%, and Jordana is younger than you, you shall unashindwa na Jordana ukifanya nini. That's how we grew up.
Yeah.
And then immediately, you see where the comparison comes from.
Back there, yeah.
Our parents didn't take time to tell us, Rahab, you got 70. Oh, but I thought there was no conversation. Why did you get 70? There was no, you can do it. You are, last time you got 80. What? How come? There was no conversation. It was, why you get it? Hey. Yeah. That's how we grew up. A lot of comparison, a lot of being made to feel we are not good enough. And I remember, if you talk to my husband, says one day he got his report form and he had gotten 90-something and the teacher had written, you can do better, and he refused to go home with that.
Oh
report.
my God.
Go do better how? You can do better what? I have 90-something. That is, so imagine having people who are like that. You grow up believing at the back of your mind, you are not good enough. At the back of your mind, the doubt that, am I the right person? You grow up thinking, and some parents were even worse. So no one taught us about, we're taken to Sunday school, alafu, full stop.
Yeah.
And even when we were growing up, I remember, I don't know if we talked about this with you, who is God? Our God was there to punish you. But when you do good things, God is not there. So we grew up, where was he, Jordan? Are you told God is there?
No.
So you have this relationship with God that is different. He's the punisher. There's a series called The Punisher. Kazi yake ni kupunish, ni kama kanju. Wewe ruka mataa yuko hapo, lakini saa zile umefuata hayuko.
Yeah.
So you understand how, so Rahab, I grew up like that. I grew up not knowing who am I, who is God, and the things that we used to enjoy and like when we were young, something happens, and I know sometimes we go through experiences that changes that, but we don't talk about it again. That's why I'm saying it's very important to talk. Now, this girl who was 5 years old now goes to high school. In high school, you've gone to a national school. You meet different characters. We ametoka Western Pokot, Sijui Mombasa, you are brought there. Yeah. That is the first time your mind starts saying, okay, what is happening? Who am I? Now that is why people say teenage. Sometimes it's not necessarily teenage, it's that person. It's just that many teenagers try to find themselves. They're like, okay, who am I? Okay, I don't know. This is what I believe. Maybe I'm wrong, but I believe 100%. If I teach my children who they are, if I start talking to them about their values, if I start saying you're the right person, even if you think you are not the right person, you are the right person. At that time, they needed you to do that. Maybe tomorrow they'll not need you. If I teach them all that, then they'll know who they are. And then when they go to high school, they won't be pushed around. They won't see someone being dropped with a Land Rover, and then they tell me, Mom, don't come here with that old thing. They will not tell me, because they know we have this old thing because there is reason behind. So we struggle even with transitioning. I remember I went to, and I really wanted to go to boarding. I could not even think that I will stay in a day school after class 8. And let me see, I cried. Well, when I went to Form 1, the first 2 weeks, because you have gone, it is January. You never used to wake up very early. When you're growing up, as long as you're in school by 8, now you have to wake up, you have chores, you go, we used to take porridge. Me, I never used to take porridge in the morning. And it is hot porridge in a tumbler. Who taught me? No one taught me. You have to be in class by what time. You have to do what? You are meeting people with different accents. Someone talks to you like, what have you just said? Then there is class roll. Then there is preps. I was lost. Actually, I always say, my high school, I was lost. If you ask me what was happening, I don't know. I was telling my friends, how come people are taking pictures? Where was I? Jordana, I believe I was lost. I didn't know who I was. I was going through changes. I was lost. And I think you can get lost until you die.
Yeah.
Not physical death, but you die.
Yeah.
Only time I woke up, I think, I woke up briefly because and I went to a very good school, I must say. And that's why I say I was lost. And then I didn't get the grade that will take me to campus. And my mother said, let me tell you, we must go to university. There is no way. So I'll have to repeat. And you know that time, for you to get an index number, you do the exam in third. So I went to a school where a girl had dropped out because of she got pregnant. So I was given that index number. So I went to school in March, end of March. See, results because I took February. So end of March, I went to a new school. I repeated, I rewinded from 4. Some people don't know this. So this is actually, I've let a cat out of the bag. Now, I went to a school that was doing pure sciences, pure. The change was, I was in a mixed school, change number 1, a girls' school. Oh, and then I was in Rift Valley, change, I went to Thika. It was still a good school. Then girls only. Then I was in a cube, like a room of 4 people. Now it is a dormitory. Like this. There was no locker, there was nothing. And then first time I went to school for 3 weeks. Jordana, I was lost. I was like, what is happening? Where do people, so they keep their suitcases under the bed. That's where they would keep anyway. But here I am. So I did music. So I had to change. In the previous school, we used to play the recorder and we would listen to orchestral music and then you say which. Now here I had to sing a traditional song. Had I ever? And MOOCs are in June. The only thing that saved me, this is the first time I actually believe Jesus answered my prayer. Because I had to change, I had to drop a certain subject and take a new one because they didn't have what they had. So I went through a change and a transition, and my mother did not want to hear anything. I was telling my husband the other day that I was very sick at one point, and my mother, and he had never had this. You mean anyway? My mom thought I was not sick, so I was pretending so that I can get out of the school. But for true, I was sick anyway. So if you don't know what saved me is because I had to get a grade to go to campus. Full stop. So I woke up at that time. I got the grade. After that, then you go to campus. I think I woke up. I started waking up in campus, and I realized, kumbe I'm good in maths. What happened to me? What was wrong with me? How come? I can do well. Oh my God, I can stand on my own 2 feet. Why do I chew my nails? You start asking yourself questions. What happened to me when I was 10 years old? Those things. So if you do not know who you are, when the wind comes, and there are different types of winds. Even rain, sometimes when it rains, it looks like it's straight. Sometimes it rains, it looks like it's coming from the left because of the wind, isn't it? If we don't know who we are, whatever wind comes, it will push you. What is it called? You might drown, you might fall, and that is why it's important for all of us to ask, who am I? What do I like? I like the questions. What do I like? Most women my age, we don't know what we like. Or even girls your age, even younger, if you ask them, why are you wearing this dress? They have no clue why they are wearing the dress. They wear because it's fashion. So I always say, and I talk to young people, and I say, what is the reason behind what you're doing? So you must have roots. You must know who you are. What makes me tick? What is different about me? What do I need to embrace about me so that when that wind comes, you are okay? And the wind can be kidogo wind. It can be something small, changing jobs. Have you ever gone to a new place and you feel lost? You're grown. You're a grown person. You know, you have the qualities, but you feel there and you feel, oh my, I don't belong. Why? Then you lose yourself, isn't it? Then you wake up after 2 years and okay, what has happened? The security comes from that identity. Security is like when you lock the door, you feel I'm secure, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
The security is when I've drawn the curtains, I've locked the doors. That's why before we all sleep, we check.
Yeah.
How come our lives, we don't check if we are okay?
Oh, that's a good
We
one.
don't check our mental health, we don't check our souls, we don't check our emotions, we don't check, but we think we are secure. You won't be secure if you've not checked the windows and the doors and the all those two things. But our houses we check. So we need to do that check all the time.
Yeah. I really appreciate that the constant self-check-in, just checking in with yourself. How am I doing? Because if we don't do that part when you said for the longest time, I didn't know who I am, and then it's like a part of me died. So you're like The Walking Dead. And I have had those same feelings. I think when I started now processing my experiences from my childhood, yada, yada, all those things, even before we met, I started getting a sense of there is Jordana somewhere she's buried beneath so much experiences that have never been processed, changes that are happening left, center. It's like I did not have an awareness of who I am. What am I? Like, where am I? What things do I like? And there's a podcast I listen to every now and then, and the host always talks about living fully awake. And that's something I really deeply appreciate, the idea of living awake to your own life. And sometimes when you are not awake to your own life, it's like now you have margin in your life to mind a lot of other people's things. So now you try to fix other people's problems. You're like, oh, my sister is not doing this, let me do this. Or work. We bury ourselves within other things because before we can get a hold of who are you. And one quote that I think has made a lot of rounds recently is, okay, not recently, but the fact that you cannot run from yourself because no matter where you go, there you are.
Yeah.
There you can run. Running you can, but you will always, you're like, oh, here I am again after running away from myself. Yeah, thank you for helping us to process that. That, my friends, is part 1 of my conversation with Rahab. I hope that you will be here again next week on Friday for our second part of this conversation with Rahab. As we finish up, we talk a bit some more about the types of changes that we face, because transition is not just to the negative. Sometimes it is because we are growing and we are advancing. We will pick it up from here next time. But before then, I have a request, friend. I have a request, and here it is. What is your take away from this conversation with Rahab? My request is that you leave a comment in the comment section of wherever it is that you're listening, and just tell me, what is one thing that you have learned? What is something that has stood out for you? Or what is something that you would like to hear me talk about during this Quarter Life Chronicles series where we are talking about transitions? Okay, what have you learned? What would you like for us to talk about that we have not yet touched about in any of our conversations so far? Until then, stay rooted, my friend. I can't wait to be with you next time when we finish up this conversation with the amazing Coach Rahab. Have a good week. Bye-bye. The Wellness Junction podcast is a production of Pamoja community-based organization. It is supported by the Northwestern University Access to Health Project with production assistance from Studio Spain Media Group. Please take a moment to follow the Wellness Junction podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, or wherever you're listening. To learn more about how Pamoja CBU has impacted young people's lives over the past 15 years, please visit our website at www.pamojapamoja.org or our social media pages that are linked in the show notes. I have been your host, Jordana, and I can't wait to connect with you in the next one. Thank you for being here.